Hello and welcome to AI TV News. Today we're explaining a major final chapter in a long and painful story. On October 14, 2025, the United States Supreme Court rejected an appeal from conspiracy theorist Alex Jones, leaving in place a staggering $1.4 billion judgment against him for his lies about the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting. The court's decision was issued without comment, a common practice that, in this case, signals a definitive end to Jones's legal challenges at the highest level. To understand the significance of this moment, we have to go back to December 14, 2012. On that day in Newtown, Connecticut, a gunman killed 20 first graders and 6 educators at Sandy Hook Elementary School. It was a national tragedy. But in the days and years that followed, Alex Jones used his media platform, InfoWars, to push a baseless and cruel conspiracy theory. He repeatedly told his audience that the shooting was a hoax, a false flag operation staged by the government to take away guns. He claimed the grieving parents were crisis actors. For the families of the victims, this was the start of a second nightmare. During the eventual court cases, parents and an FBI agent who responded to the shooting testified about the years of torment they endured. They received death threats. They were harassed and stalked by Jones's followers who believed his lies. One father testified that conspiracy theorists desecrated his 7-year-old son's grave. The lies made it impossible for them to grieve in peace. In response, several families filed defamation lawsuits against Jones in both Connecticut and Texas. A defamation suit is a legal claim that someone has harmed your reputation by telling lies about you. The legal journey was long, but a critical moment came in 2021. A Connecticut judge issued what's known as a default ruling, finding Jones liable without a full trial. This is a rare penalty, and the judge explained it was for Jones's repeated failure to abide by court rulings and his refusal to turn over evidence to the family's lawyers. With Jones already found liable, the only remaining question was how much he should pay. In 2022, a Connecticut jury was assembled to answer that. After hearing the family's harrowing testimony, the jury awarded them $965 million in compensatory damages, money meant to compensate for their suffering. A judge later added another $473 million in punitive damages, extra money intended to punish Jones for his conduct and deter others from doing the same. This brought the total in the Connecticut case to over $1.4 billion. A separate case in Texas resulted in another $49 million judgment, which Jones is also appealing. In his appeal to the Supreme Court, Jones argued that he was denied a proper trial and that his First Amendment rights of free speech were violated. His lawyers claimed his statements were taken out of context. But a strong sign that his appeal would fail came when the Supreme Court didn't even ask the Sandy Hook family's lawyers to file a response, a step the court almost always takes if it's seriously considering a case. Following the rejection, Jones mocked the idea that he could ever pay such a sum. But the families are determined to collect what they can. A lawyer for the families, Christopher Mattei, said they look forward to enforcing the jury's historic verdict and making Jones and InfoWars pay for what they have done. So, what happens now? Following the massive judgments, Jones and his parent company, Free Speech Systems, filed for bankruptcy protection. However, a judge has since ruled that these defamation debts cannot be erased through bankruptcy because Jones' behavior was deemed willful and malicious. A bankruptcy judge has ordered the liquidation of Jones's personal assets to help pay the debt. This means his belongings will be sold off. The process of selling the assets of his company, InfoWars, has been moved to a Texas state court. In a strange twist, the satirical news outlet The Onion was at one point a winning bidder for InfoWars' assets, but a judge threw out the results. Reports suggest The Onion may still be trying to acquire the company. While it is unclear how much of the historic $1.4 billion judgment the families will ever see, this week's Supreme Court decision is a landmark victory. It closes the final legal door for Alex Jones to challenge the verdict, and it solidifies the consequences for the decade of pain he caused. For the families, the focus now shifts from the courtroom to the difficult process of enforcing the judgment and trying to reclaim a measure of peace.
A single photograph has the power to tell a story that words alone cannot. It can capture a fleeting moment, reveal a hidden world, and change the way we see our planet. Today, we look at one such image, the winner of the 61st Wildlife Photographer of the Year Award, a haunting portrait that was a decade in the making. Welcome to AI TV News. In this segment, we explore the story behind Ghost Town Visitor, a photograph of the world's rarest hyena, and what it tells us about the silent triumph of nature. The image is both eerie and beautiful. A shaggy, ghost-like creature emerges from the shadows of a decaying building, its form framed perfectly in a doorway. Sand dunes pour through the windows of the room behind it, burying the floor in waves of orange. This is the work of South African photographer Wim van den Heever, and it has just been named the Wildlife Photographer of the Year for 2025. The photograph was taken in Kolmanskap, a ghost town near Luderitz, Namibia. A century ago, this was one of the richest towns in Africa. After a worker discovered a diamond here in 1908, a rush of German miners descended on the desert, building a lavish town, complete with a ballroom, a casino, a hospital, and even the world's first tram in Africa. But the boom was short-lived. By the 1950s, the diamonds had dwindled, and richer deposits were found elsewhere. Kolmanskap was abandoned, left to the mercy of the relentless desert winds and shifting sands. Today, it is a town being reclaimed by nature, and its newest residents are the subjects of Van den Heever's award-winning photo. The creature in the doorway is a brown hyena, the rarest of all hyena species. With a global population estimated between just 4,000 and 10,000, it is listed as a near-threatened species. Unlike their more famous spotted cousins, brown hyenas are shy, mostly solitary, and almost exclusively nocturnal. They are known locally as strandwolf, or Afrikaans for beach dogs. The name is fitting. These hyenas patrol the desolate coastline of the Namib Desert, often traveling dozens of kilometers in a single night. They pass through the ghost town of Kolmanskap on their way to the shore, where they hunt for Cape fur seal pups and scavenge for whatever the Atlantic Ocean offers up. Capturing this elusive animal in such a perfect, poignant setting was no easy task.
For photographer Wim van den Heever, it was the culmination of a 10-year obsession. He first noticed hyena tracks in the sand-filled streets of Kolmanskap a decade ago and became determined to capture the animal's passage through this man-made ruin. But the strandwolf is a master of evasion. Photographing it in person proved impossible. Van den Heever turned to camera traps, devices that use a motion sensor to trigger a photo. For years, he struggled. His cameras were falsely triggered by swirling Atlantic fog and battered by sandstorms. The hyenas would appear, but the lighting would be wrong, or the moment would be missed. Finally, after a decade of perseverance, his patience paid off. The result is Ghost Town Visitor, an image he calls the most perfect frame imaginable. The judges of the competition, which is developed and produced by the Natural History Museum in London, agreed. They selected Van den Heever's photo from a record-breaking 60,636 entries submitted from 113 countries and territories. Jury Chair Kathy Moran noted that the photo offers a unique twist on the urban wildlife category, which it also won. This isn't a story of animals adapting to our cities, but of wildlife repopulating a town that humans have left behind. Competition judge Akanksha Sood Singh described it as a multi-layered story of loss, resilience, and the natural world's silent triumph. It is a powerful statement about nature reclaiming a human-dominated environment. For the photographer, the message is also one of hope, that wildlife can live alongside us and that coexistence is possible if we choose to embrace it. The Wildlife Photographer of the Year competition has always been about more than just beautiful pictures. It uses the power of photography to tell crucial stories about our planet. This year, other winning images highlight critical conservation issues. The Young Wildlife Photographer of the Year award went to Andrea Domenici of Italy for a photo of a beetle set against logging machinery, a stark reminder of habitat loss. The Impact Award was won by Fernando Facioli of Brazil for his image of an orphaned giant anteater, drawing attention to the growing threat of road collisions. For the first time, the exhibition is adding another layer of context to these powerful images. The Natural History Museum will display the photos alongside its Biodiversity Intactness Index. This is a scientific metric that estimates how much of an area's original natural biodiversity still remains. It provides a simple health score for nature, giving visitors a clear, data-driven look at the human impact on the locations shown in the photographs. The winning images will go on display at the Natural History Museum in London on October 17, 2025, before touring the world. They serve as a stunning and often sobering reminder of the planet's fragility and beauty. Wim van den Heever's decade-long quest to capture a single image of a ghost-like hyena in a ghost town has given us a timeless story, one that shows us that even in places of abandonment and decay, life finds a way to return.